Thanks for joining me here today to do some reviews of AVEVA Teamwork. Today's use case is going to be issues management, which deals with calls for help and troubleshoots. My name's David Wilt, and I'll be your host today as we go through these applications within Teamwork. As we go to the second slide, we'll see that there's a use case. We're going to be calling this calls for help and troubleshoots. It takes into account three different types of topics, groups of information, which we're going to call challenges addressed, impact, and potential KPIs, and of course the main beneficiaries of using calls for help and troubleshoots. One of the main things that we cover when we think about challenges that get addressed are the early identification of work on the floor, and the reliance on paper-based training gets drastically reduced. Standardization of work is improved as well. As far as the impact goes, we can expect that when calls for help and troubleshoots are used, that we can reduce employee overtime costs and improve equipment availability, and standards can get built by the people who actually identify the problems. A lot of ownership gets created. And again, as far as the beneficiaries go, really the whole plant is benefited by using calls for help and troubleshoots. The flow chart you're looking at here now is just showing you an overview, 10,000 foot so to speak, of how the system can work from factory feed to calls for help, Kanban, and then the troubleshoots. So we have our equipment on the far left, and that's going to be our wrapper for our example today. Then the little blue guy on the left side there, he's working with his iPad, and when he has a problem, he can use the calls for help to get the problem started, to get the problem identification started. And as soon as he does that, and he uses his teamwork quite easily, the supervisor and the experts right in the middle there, they get alerted to know that their operator on the floor needs some help. So that's a really good, quick way to get information to the bosses and up. You also have the concept of needing teamwork to get the work done. And actually, the team that gets together and creates the calls for help can also create troubleshoots, and troubleshoots can even be segued into work instructions. So then we move into the demo, and in the demo now, we have a fellow called Jeff who logs into Teamwork. He's logging in on his laptop today, and he goes straight into factory feed. When Jeff goes into factory feed, he can read what's going on for the shift. But in today's example, we really are caring about Jeff creating a calls for help. So he pushes the blue button, and he's going to write a post. His post is creating a call for help. He says, okay. As he goes through the process, he ends up selecting his problem types. He has 5 or 6 to pick from there. He can pick his priority level, important. He has a place for a message. He can type in whatever he needs. Remembering that whatever he does here gets transferred right to those who can help him. So the calls for help really initiate from the floor like we're seeing here. He can insert pictures of what he sees on the floor. There's also pictures and videos when you get down to it. And he uses his iPad for all this work. He can tag it, so it's like, okay, I see you have a problem. Where is it? What's it called? It's at the workstation. So he's going to pick on his workstation 2 and wrapper 2, push the button, and before you know it, within just probably a minute or so, he's able to push publish. And as soon as he pushes publish, the call for help Kanban gets populated. The one you're looking at here is for all the calls for help for the whole plant. His name is Jeff Lamb. He's a creator, but he ends up pushing online too to do a little quick filtering, so he only gets to see a little bit of what's going on, not the whole plant. So Jeff has created this call for help. He's got the ball rolling. Now he's going to go up here. You can see that I'm going right to his name, and he's going to end up logging off. And what we're going to do is go and say, let's look at this call for help through the eyes of Sam, his boss, who's a supervisor. So Sam's logging in, and he goes click, same kind of thing, signs in, no problem. Sam has been alerted, so that's why he's logging in right now to take a peek. So when he logs in, he sees that call for help Kanban. He sees that Jeff started it, and it's like, needs help with the wrapper. And Jeff knows what's going on. So Jeff has a lot of experience. He takes a peek at it. He says, I'm going to actually create my troubleshoot. So the call for help was initiated by one person and gets solutioned by the boss. Same kind of thing. He does a little wizard of sorts, answering questions on drop downs, filters it. Everything gets organized very neatly inside Teamwork as you answer the questions. He comes down towards the bottom. He's like, oh, I can push publish right away if I want, but he doesn't really want to because he wants to do the solution and the problem. So he's going to fill out the problem first. Takes him a few minutes. He's talked to Jeff. He has a good view of what's going on. Doesn't need it's not a very complicated solution or problem here. So he puts in the problem there of, what's he saying? Problem was minor, the leg is too short. And so he has to do some quick little repair through the maintenance guys and Jeff to get its solution. So he's going to actually say, well, this has been a chronic problem. I'm going to, follow through with my work here. And he's going to have correcting the machine, add a step. So he does the work, he types it up, adjusting the leg so that it's all the same length. And we want to make sure that the customer, in this case, who is Jeff, the operator, is satisfied. He initiated the call for help. His boss is filling out the text to help correct it. The troubleshoot is going to address the problem, and then in just a few minutes, we'll see how the troubleshoot, after it gets created, ends up being associated with the area in which the problem originated. So he's adjusting the leg to be the same length. Now he can push that publish button. So the troubleshoot's been updated. You can see it up there. I'm circling it up. It can be shared to other plants and other equipment pieces and other areas in case this is a common problem and not just related to the one workstation. So while Sam's still logged in, he's going over right to line 2. What we're trying to show you here is that the call for help now is running its full cycle. It's going back to line wrapper 2. He's looking at that picture. He's like, the legs are all the same length. There's been 5 troubleshoots created just for this. He clicks on it. He's like, okay, there's the troubleshoot I just created. It's still pending, so the troubleshoot needs to get its final stages of correction and getting it resolved. But it's real close. Between Samuel and Jeff, they did a good job today. They got it all started. So that's me, David Wilt, signing off. Hope this was helpful to you today. Thank you.